Hello and welcome back to Villa TV and to Matchday Live for our post-match show after a 3-1 win, Aston Villa over Fulham. Aston Villa up to 16th in the Premier League, being joined by the two former villains previously, Lee Hendry and Jed Sear. How was that for you, Lee?
Much better. That's what we wanted to see. Wanted a lot more. I mean, the atmosphere and everything just felt good today. I just had a real good feel factor. And I said, you know, at the start of the show was, I think building on that momentum from midweek was so massive, and I think to highlight from coming from a goal down and winning comfortably in the end, it could have been a hell of a lot more, and that just shows the signs that we're starting to get back to where we were from last season.
Yeah, exactly. Would you agree with those sentiments? I know, and it was true though, what Lee was saying there, Jed. The start of today, the atmosphere did just feel different, didn't it? And it almost felt like the fans inside Villa Park wanted to rectify some of the perhaps perceived to be wrongs from the other night. Some of those jeers that we were saying about the frustrations that were there. But, I mean, the fans really played their part today right from the off.
Yeah, massive. And it would have been easy for the fans to come and be disappointed and frustrated, but they got right behind the team, and even going a goal down, the fans got straight behind the boys again, and it's so important, especially when the team hasn't performed how it's wanted to over the last few weeks. That's it's brilliant. And the character the boys showed as well to during a tough spell to go 1-0 down, to get back into the game and then to perform like they did second half was fantastic.
Should we talk about that then? Should we talk about the start of the game? Because as you say, the atmosphere was up, the encouragement was there straight away, the fireworks were there and then some, weren't they, as we were talking about.
So got burnt.
I know, so everyone was doing everything they possibly could to have boosted the atmosphere. And of course, after 3 minutes, Jimenez nods home Fulham's first goal. So naturally, that is going to take a bit of a hit instantly. What were your thoughts at that point?
Disappointing, really. I think, we just touched on how good it felt around the stadium going into this game, and, there was sort of lots of positive vibes. But, do you know what, I think, conceding that early goal, I think we responded relatively well. I said to Jed, actually, I was sat up there, I said, the fact that Jimenez went off,
yeah,
I actually felt that was a massive positive for us. I mean, I hope he's okay and, injury-free, but, you do think that he was such a big focal point for them, and as soon as he went off, Traore I think came on, and it was a different outcome. I just felt that not having him on the pitch really helped our cause. But I think just the positive vibe of getting back into the game and showing that we were willing to, it was early doors, the goals that was conceded, and we bounced back brilliantly from that. And to be fair, it was just onwards and upwards from then on.
Yeah. Now we're going to welcome in Captain Fantastic, Super John McGinn, is joining us for the second time this week.
How are you? Hello, buddy.
Good.
How are you?
Are you all right?
Great to see you again. Yeah, I'm really well. How are you, more importantly, though? Another
Is that all your boys are?
as the cheers are coming from I hope you know them anyway, or else they are just super fans all the same. How are you, though? Goal scoring boots on and then some of late. How are you feeling?
I had to make up for it after the first half.
Oh.
That was like Jed in the box.
Yeah, I felt as if you had too much time.
No, I was going to pass it actually. I was expecting the goalkeeper to go back, the defender to go back on the goal line, and I was going to slip it to Ollie, but the defender stayed where he was, and I just got it all wrong. So,
to be fair, I went and checked the pitch to see if there was any, because it's not like you with that trusty wand you've got there, mate. Were you going for the top bin, surely? Then?
No, I was just going to pass it in, but it was a shocker. So I had to make up for it in the second half, and thankful for that moment in.
Because we were talking about you beforehand, your goal scoring record in Europe and how fantastic that's been. For you now, translating it again back to the Premier League, does that always give you more satisfaction, or are you just happy to have it translating across whichever competition?
No, it does, obviously. It's a lot harder I don't know if I can say it. It's a lot harder to score in the Premier League. Teams are more organised defensively. The tempo's higher. The games are tougher, so you don't get as many opportunities. So it does feel sweeter. And a couple of years ago, I promised the manager 10 goals. I get 9. So hopefully, I can try and get 10 this year.
And then in terms of the confidence as well, and we talk about setting the tempo, and we're going to bring in two guests here in just a moment, because we were talking about you beforehand and saying about how you set the tempo, set the precedent, and that being sort of your MO. Again, going out there today, it felt very much front foot, of course, for Jimenez goal after 3 minutes. However, what was your initial intention setting out there today?
No, I think we started the game well, to be honest. The ball's kind of ricocheted off me, it's went in behind the defence, we conceded the corner. And the disappointing thing for us, we've got a rule that we don't let people get across the front of us, so we're disappointed with that one. But we reacted well. We could easily have crumbled, but I think we played really well today, and for the first time this season, it seemed to click.
Do you feel like that? Do you feel like it's clicked for the first time?
I did, because Thursday wasn't perfect. It was a lot better, but it wasn't perfect. Today, obviously, wasn't perfect either, because we conceded and we can do things better. But it was much more like an Aston Villa team of the past few years.
Are you feeling better in that? I feel like you being more central in that role. Is that what you more prefer? I know you don't mind playing anywhere.
No, I don't know. I just feel good physically. Done a lot of work in the summer. Was a bit of timber. Trying.
Oh yeah, you have. Yeah.
have the DEXA scans a wee bit kinder to me this year, but I just the older I'm getting, I wanted to look after myself a bit more. I'm feeling fresh and fit, and thankfully I'm quite versatile to fill in for the injured boys. And I think the manager prefers sometimes to play me higher up, but he knows I can fill in there, and I'm enjoying being back in the middle.
And does that give you now, it's an obvious question to ask, but the kick to go forwards, the confidence? Is it just as linear as that, or is it just the fact that you've got the 3 points on the board now, 3 goals to boot as well, that can give you the confidence?
A bit of both. We need to take the momentum, but obviously not get too carried away. We've had a poor start to the season. This is a big result for us. When you looked at the league table last night, it wasn't great.
Do you look at it?
The correct answer would be no, but of course you do. Match of the day last night, saw it at the end, and I thought, right, we need to win tomorrow. So thankfully it climbs us up the table a bit, but we've got an important game Thursday, so it's a bit recovering now, and then back here on Sunday.
What's been the manager's message over the last couple of weeks?
Screaming, demanding.
No, but is it more of a let's get through this stage? Obviously, every team can go through tough moments.
No, he thinks more than that. He's more trying to get back to the way he wants us to play, the style. And I think we saw it more last week. I know people were disappointed with the result. We were furious with the result, but there was little glimpses of us getting back to where we had to be. Thursday was much more like it. But it's a bit bedding in the new players, trying to get them used to. It's a unique style. It doesn't always suit everyone, but the manager wasn't kind of throwing his toys at the pram and getting on to us. He was more focused on his tactics and his style, and to be fair to him, he's consistent, and we went back to doing what we were best at.
Now I'm going to bring in our 2 special guests, Grace and Finn. Would you like to come
I
here?
met them in the tunnel before the game.
Microphone. Now they've got a question each for you. Well done, lads. There we go. Now, Finn, who were you saying beforehand was your favourite player?
John McGinn.
You need to say that, don't you?
Honestly, you can check it back. There you go. Of who was your favourite player? What question would you like to ask John?
Were you nervous beforehand?
I actually wasn't, because you're in control of it. I get more nervous watching my brothers play because you're not in control. Even when I was at the side, I got more nervous. But when you play, even if you make a mistake, you don't get any nerves, because the lads will tell you you've trained since you were a wee guy for these moments. So no, I don't get nervous, which I should maybe start getting nervous.
And Grace, what was your question?
How did it feel to score?
Brilliant. I was telling everyone, especially after the first half where I missed a sitter. But that's football. Sometimes you score them and you miss them. But it was a good pass from Emmett. Ollie made a run, and it started to open up. And a couple of times in training, I put a few past Jed like that.
I'm not sure about that, John.
Nah, Jed will say I aimed for the far corner, but I meant shank it off the post.
Great questions, you two.
Well done,
John, thank you so much for joining us and answering all of our questions. Finn and Grace, thank you so much. You've been an absolute joy today, a real pleasure, and all of our jobs are in danger in the future. But thank you so much, John. Thank you so much to both of you two as well. And we'll let you make your way to your connections there. But thank you so much again for all of that. And we'll see you on TV very soon, the pair of you two. But that was just great all round, wasn't it? Great feel about the place. And considering how down in the dumps, and it's easy in football, isn't it, to get very downbeat and very out about certain things. But again, we said beforehand, Jed, how quickly it can change, how fickle the sport can be. How good will everyone be feeling going home tonight?
They'll be delighted in the dressing room, but it's one win, and there's still work to do. But John mentioned there about what the manager had been saying, and it's about the performance and getting back to what they know they're good at. And that's the one thing that I felt with Emery was it was very performance based, the analysis. And you can play really badly and still win, and you can play well and still lose. Be more focused on the performances and getting the best. If you perform 80% of the chance, I think you win.
Yeah.
You'll win more games than not. So that's what he focuses on. And look, today it was a brilliant performance.
Yeah, and overall then, I mean, we talk about the spark being different, and John was saying there that things have finally clicked today for the first time. We saw glimmers of it, of course, against Bologna, but glimmers probably being the operative term of which there. However, today, what would you say percentage-wise that you saw of today's game that we saw of Villa last year?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a large portion. I really would. I think there was there was more intent in the way that we played. Just seeing little bits of different things from say Morgan making runs from midfield, in breaking the lines, getting in behind where it created a lot of space. I felt that we were more on the front foot. I thought we were more likely to go and create opportunities, which we probably haven't done as much this season. And that's what we did, and was really well highlighted and documented that we did last season. That's why we had so much success. So it was so much better today. I'm thrilled to bits that Ollie got his goal, and it was a super finish as well.
Can we talk about that? How classic Ollie Watkins that was? Go on, talk.
It was brilliant. I mean, listen, when you're having tough times as a player, and particularly for centre forward, they're judged on goals, and it was just great to see that. Knowing Ollie keeps going and keeps trying and keeps doing, and he's willing to get that goal and to get him on his way. But I think it was just the way that he got through, and it was a super finish. Just to lob the goalkeeper. It's always nice as a player. It's probably not for the goalkeeper.
No, it's horrible, to be honest. You see that ball come over the top, and you know straight away, okay, I've got to do something here. If I stay back, I'm in trouble. Or if I come, I've got to get there. And he didn't, and Ollie managed to get it over him.
There was a chance earlier on, wasn't there, with some sort of looping header, or I'm not entirely sure what it was, but I remember you talking about how tricky that is for a goalkeeper in terms of you having to reassess your footwork and really relying on that at that point. So literally only a few moments later, we actually saw a goal result from that. I
know, yeah, it's difficult as a goalkeeper. You've got a decision to make, and a lot of the time in that scenario, you're going to be on the losing side. It's the striker's through on goal. So, but delighted for Ollie because he works so hard every day, and it really hurts him the fact that he's not scored many goals this season. And you could sort of see a little bit in the games that he's been a bit down. He's a little bit low on confidence, so that goal will do him the world of good. It's
a confidence game at the end of the day, isn't it? So fantastic to see that. Also, Morgan Rogers, again, the ambition he had, the drive that he had, I was really pleased, again, to go back to the crowd, the fact that they were supportive today, and hopefully that will then turn into, into assists and into goals for him. But again, just showing willing for the team.
Yeah, it's massive. Listen, flair players and players that you depend on to try and unlock doors. Sometimes they need the arm round, the old arm round them from the manager, the players, the fans. They need them getting that sort of belief back into that confidence box that they have, because throughout the season we're going to be needing all these players, and Morgan. Listen, he's a talent, there's no doubt of that. He's still trying, he's willing, he's trying to make them passes that he made last year that probably came off more so. But that's what I like about him. He's still going on and trying to do the same sort of things that he did last season that gave him the success, which is brilliant. And the fans are really buying into that. We've got to give him that confidence, we've got to give him that belief, as we have with all the players, but particularly players that we depend on throughout a season.
Can we talk about Emi Buendia and the role that he has already had this season? An assist today, a goal today as well. Of course, we didn't see him for a large part of last season with him going out on loan. Talks and rumours about him potentially being sold over the summer. However, he has got a role to play, certainly so. And again, Joe, we talk about work rate. His work rate was there, and he was rewarded with an assist and a goal himself.
Yeah, we spoke early on into the game, didn't we? And said, who have we got on the bench who could potentially make a difference and change the game? And Buendia coming on, the energy he brings. He's tenacious. He really tries to make things happen and get on the ball. And I felt the intensity at the start of the second half was through the roof. And we went after Fulham, and it was brilliant. And to get that goal was massive at that time of the game as well. And then when you concede a goal, you're then liable to conceding again because the other team get on top, and that's exactly what happened. Villa went on to get the third, and that's near enough it. Game over at that point.
Like you say, yeah, with Buendia in the 51st minute getting that goal. Interesting, though, overhearing your comments throughout it, the fact of how well Villa were stretching Fulham, trying something that bit different, not congesting the midfield as such, but some of those longer balls as well, just some few little different tacks from Villa.
Yeah, well, we seen it in the first half, didn't we? And that's, where sort of Ollie got in and got his goal. And as I said, the likes of Morgan maybe not coming and receiving the ball with the defender behind him, making it difficult for him, stretching, taking his opponent the other way, which we did see. And I felt that we won a lot of second balls because when Emi came on, I felt that we had almost, it felt like an extra man just in behind Ollie. So, listen, I think we've seen lots of that from the manager last season, where he mixed the game up, where it was going sort of back to front quite quickly. Ollie was in a 1v1 duel at times on the halfway line because they're trying to get back into the game, but that allowed us to get up the pitch. And you have to say that having that versatility from back to front, we have to use this season because you can get predictable, and that's where teams have come here and made it difficult for us and had a low block on us. But stretching teams today was one thing that really stood out for me.
Yeah, Ollie Watkins is really good with his back to goal.
Yeah.
Up against his opponent. But also this season, I've noticed that the wide players play very narrow.
Yeah.
And there, like you say, Lee, it felt like there was an extra player in there to pick up the second ball and land on that second ball to get Villa up the pitch.
It is true. Like you say, that was almost a bit of a concern for a lot of people had coming into this season. But actually, like you say, turning it into that bit of a positive as well may not be a bad way to go. Now, you two don't know that I'm going to ask you to wrap up your man of the match. So I'm going to spring this on you last minute. So, Jed, you're having a good think about it. What was your first instinct when I said man of the match? Who are you gravitating towards?
For me, I can't look past a goal and an assist from Buendia. I know he came on at half-time, but the game did change at that point, and the start Villa had in that second half, he was a huge influence in that. So I know he only played 45 minutes, but for me, very impactful. Yeah. So I'm going to have to go Ebi Buendia.
FOTMob agrees with you anyway.
Oh, does it? Oh, brilliant.
For what it's worth, that it agrees. So there you go then. Didn't even see that beforehand. Your own man of match. You're going to go Buendia as well?
No, I'm not. To be fair, I think the man we've just had here, I think he led by example again today. I think having back-to-back goals. I want to highlight Bogard as well, playing in that midfield. I think, to be fair, sometimes...
The Swiss Army knife, isn't he? He
can
go anywhere.
He might have gone under the radar for some of the work and what he did in midfield today, for, sometimes doing that dogged sort of performance that allowed the more versatile and exciting players to get on the ball, like Buendia and obviously John McGinn getting his goal. But John McGinn was mine, but I just wanted to highlight him coming in and playing a key role today. There
you go. No, definitely so. Because as you say, he is such an under-the-radar player. But wherever he's asked to fill in, whether it be at centre-half or it be at right-back, in midfield, he just seems to be able to do so. And, of course, he signed a contract extension as well, a second of which during the week. So everything is going well for Bogard. So, yeah, nicely done. Right, lads. Oh, it feels good, doesn't it? Finally, we can just breathe that sigh of relief.
Yeah,
so
thank you. Win.
Exactly. Thank you so much to the pair of you two for coming back and for watching the game alongside you. I've learnt an awful lot today. Thank you so much for watching. A valuable 3 points on the board for Aston Villa, up to 16th in the Premier League. 3 goals to boot as well. We can all just breathe that sigh of relief. Up the Villa.